Hi everyone, this is Laura Rogers. Welcome to SharePoint 2013, a more social enterprise. This is hosted by Rackspace, and I have a few slides to go over with you today, but it's mostly going to be a big demonstration. There is a little question box in GoToWebinar that you can ask questions with, and I might answer questions kind of as I'm going, but I will save a few minutes towards the end to kind of finish up with the questions. Real quick, a little bit about me. I'm Laura Rogers. I'm a Microsoft MVP. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and I've written pieces and parts of 6 different books. We do have a SharePoint 2013 book in the works. Here's my blog. This is a new link to my blog site, wonderlaura.com. Here's my Twitter name. And here are just a couple of my latest books. We wrote beginning SharePoint 2010, Building Business Solutions with SharePoint, which is for end users, power users, not admin stuff, not going to tell you to write code. And then Deborah Shadrivan and I wrote the InfoPath step-by-step book last year, and that's also a pretty beginner type book, and the beginning SharePoint book is the one that we're currently writing the 2013 version of, so it's pretty exciting. My background is originally in server administration, but I kind of moved toward more of this sort of out-of-the-box functionality with SharePoint, doing what you can with workflows, web parts, a lot of the social stuff, things like that. So I kind of moved away from the back-end server, logs and backups and those kind of boring things. Here's a quick agenda for our presentation. I'm going to do an overview just a quick overview of what social networking is, and then we're going to look at the new social features in SharePoint. A lot of them are going to be the same features, but they're going to look a little different, and they're going to have them sort of rearranged in different places and a little more obvious places. So a lot of it's going to be very familiar to you, though, if you're used to SharePoint 2010. And then I'm going to do a short little walk through the day in the life of an end user and kind of some of the things that they would typically do, and how some of the social stuff is a little bit more obvious in SharePoint 2013 now. It seems like, so for the overview part, it seems like you actually had to go through and kind of go out of your way a little bit back in the older version of SharePoint 2010, to be able to do some of the social things. So they've baked in social things in more places, in more obvious places, so that it's not something extra that you have to remember how to do. So this whole concept of social networking in SharePoint is going to be SharePoint in the enterprise and networking with your coworkers and people in your company, and just kind of think about the documents that people work on every day, and looking for things in SharePoint, and you're not only just working on the typical things you work on, but collaborating with people, and not just collaboration where you're both taking turns working on a document, but collaboration to where instead of shooting emails back and forth all over the place and sending attachments, you can even make notes about all these things inside of SharePoint. So you have these conversations everywhere, and the conversations are going to be obvious, and you'll be able to find them instead of having to go digging through your email and saying, now what were we saying about whatever that subject was. They're going to be in easier places for you to talk about things, to see what other people are talking about, to follow people, and to save a little bit more time in your daily work, because it's going to be quicker to find the things that are more relevant, and it's going to be maybe less time going to look through your email box or ask someone else to look through their email box to figure out what a conversation was about something. So with all that said about social networking in the enterprise, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight some of the new features, and then I'm going to do the day in the life thing. So first of all, this is our portal homepage. I've just created, this is my virtual machine. So everything that all the content that I've put in here is just, fake demonstration content, and none of the opinions of my coworkers are their own, because these are all little fake users that I created and I made all their comments. So that's just me doing everything on here. All right, so here's our home page, and I've got a sub-site for IT and a sub-site for marketing, and just some basic structure going on in here, just so we can get a good feel for it. One of the first social things that we're going to see in here, now there are a lot of really cool things I'd love to highlight in here. I'm going to try to just stick to the social part, like this cool, content, the content search web part here that's showing the most popular items. I think that's really neat. But we have our follow little star here. So for the site itself, so whichever page we're on, so this is at my home page, I can follow it. Now I'm following the portal home page. And I'll show you in a minute when I get to a little bit more of the My Site stuff, where I can see the list of all the things that I'm following. So I can follow the page. Not only can I follow a page, but I can say, well, this getting started with My Site, I'm going to need to read this later. This looks really interesting. So don't even have to navigate away from this page. I can just go click the little icon on this one document and follow it. So I'm not only, you've seen in Twitter and Facebook and things like that, you're following people, but in here you can follow content, because those are the important things that you're going to be working with every day. So I can follow a page, follow a document. I'm going to go ahead and drill down a little bit and go to another site in here. So I'll go ahead and go down to the IT site, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of some more examples in here. So obviously this site is very plain and very boring. But one thing to notice here is that when you've created, and I created this as a team site, it's going to have a news feed here. So this is the news feed about the site. So it's just going to start out as blank with a button that says start a conversation. So I started a conversation, and I made a comment about, this is the news feed, and then Jennifer said, well, can we do something about this boring gray color? So we can have a conversation here. So this is like Twitter. And I can put attachments in here, and I can add pictures even to my comment. So this is where in the older version of SharePoint, you could give status updates. Each individual could give status updates, and those showed up in your news feed, but you couldn't actually really have conversations around them. So now with our news feeds, we can actually reply to people, we can like things. I need to follow Jennifer, so it says, so now I'm following Jennifer Mason. I guess I wasn't following her before. So I can do all these things quickly and easily. I can even say I want to follow up with this, so I can remember to do that later. Look at that. It added a task to my own task list, and I'll show you that in a minute on the My Site. But now that I've clicked to follow up, I have to remember to do this, right? I have to say, she asked about the color. I said I'd do it. I have to remember to go follow up on that. So now I'm going to go follow up with Jennifer. So this is how it makes everything very obvious and easy. Now this little ellipsis may not be very obvious and easy because you might not know to click on it. That's going to be one of those things that users are going to see everywhere. So I think that's going to be more of a training issue, where you can know that every little item in SharePoint, every document is going to have this, instead of a lot of the drop-down boxes that we used to see before. So now that I've looked at the news feed on just the home page of the IT site, I'm going to go ahead and go down to the IT team collaboration site. So this is just a sub-site under IT that I just decided to create just so you could kind of see an example of the structure of an example, portal page. Tom asks, is the newsfeed a new web part? I have not noticed the newsfeed in the list of web parts you can add, but I can imagine that it is a web part. I just haven't seen it as being able to add it to other pages. Does that make sense? I haven't seen it in the list of little social web parts that you can add. And the funny thing about the newsfeed is that you have a newsfeed on all your pages, but unfortunately it's not going to be the same as your tags and notes. So you can make a note about your page and you can tag your page. So this is going to be, and this is going to be very familiar. You can see that this hasn't really changed much. I want to tag this page as information technology. but it seems to me like the note board is kind of maybe not enough people used it before, so this newsfeed concept is going to be more of a conversation around that site, and it's going to be more obvious. Okay, so I went to the top level of IT, then I went to the IT team collaboration. I'll go ahead and go to IT projects so I can show you something. This is using the project sites, a new template, and it gives you this pretty little sort of scrolling thing about your projects that are going on. It shows me, and this is just auto scrolling. And then I can go add a task or edit the list here. So that's pretty neat. But so I just wanted to point out that we do have tasks assigned to a lot of these different people here. And just kind of keep that in mind because we're going to get back to that in a minute. The next thing we're going to look at is really, really neat. It's brand new, and this is the concept of a community site. So this is going to be a template that you can create just when you're creating a new site, and it's just called a community. And this is what it is. Now remember those old discussion boards that were kind of a little hard to deal with sometimes? Well, this is a very revamped, very much improved discussion board, and it is the community site. So here we have some conversations that are going on in our IT community. And the first thing I'm going to show you over here on the right is, on the left is our categories. So when we create conversations, I'm going to use the words conversation and discussion sort of interchangeably here. So I'll go ahead and go look at categories. Now these are some categories that I made up. It starts off with just having a general category, but look how neat. So I've added categories, and when you hover over the category, it tells you kind of the activity that's going on around that category. It's a little hard to find how you can create your categories, so I actually had to, it's not really obvious in here to be able to get to the list of categories to add new ones. So I went to site contents and then categories, and then I get my list, my ribbon up here. So then I can go to my other view, which is the admin view. So when I added my other categories, these were just icons that I just created those little Metro icons myself, and I uploaded them to SharePoint. So each category is really just pointing to a different icon. So those icons aren't something that are going to come with SharePoint. They're something where you provide your own. But this is where you can go in and quickly look at the sort of your stats around each of your categories. All right, so on my home page, I can go, let's go look at one of these conversations. So this one's got a lot going on around it. So I started the conversation. I've gotten 4 people that like it, and I can hover over this little number 4, and it tells me the 4 people that like it. So people can come in here and hit like or hit reply. And then these are some of the things that I can do, and there some of these things that I can do as the sort of moderator of this community site, and that a lot of people aren't going to be able to do. So I can say, I can mark this as featured. So team meeting next week is marked as featured, and let's see what that does to it. Nothing, doesn't look any different. Maybe it's probably the what's hot thing. So that's going to be the most hot thing, I guess. But anyway, here's the conversation that's going on here. And so Randy's replying to me, and then the thing about these is you don't have to reply just to the whole thread. You can actually reply to any individual person's comment in the thread. So I can go through and like, I'm not going to be obnoxious and like my own comment, but I can go unlike something that I already liked. I can reply specifically to Randy, or I can create a reply which is a reply to the whole thread. Or you can see that I specifically responded to Todd here. Kelly asked, was the IT project site based on the Microsoft Project Server template or just a team site with a task list web part? Kelly, I don't know enough about Project Server to answer that as to know what the difference is. It looks like it's just a really enhanced task like a Gantt chart, but you know, improved. And Ben says future discussions show up on the home page as an option to look at when you click on the ellipsis. Very good, Ben. Thank you. Good to know. All right. So as you can see, this conversation is going on, and I can reply to any of the individual things. I can also go into one of these, and I can report it to the moderator if it's inappropriate. Let's go into a different conversation here. All right, so I'm going to go to company picnic, and I have we're going to have a big company picnic, and then she says spring is better than the fall. I can say this is the best reply. So any of these replies, I want to say best reply, and then it'll put a little checkbox next to it and put it all the way up to the top. So this is a great way to have like a forum. You can have forums where people ask questions, not necessarily just strictly what you would do in a discussion board, but it can be a true forum. So I can go look at more information about our members, and I can see their activity and what they're doing. And Nicola hasn't necessarily started any discussions, but she's done some replies, and she's got best replies, which is what gave her this good rating. So I'll show you how we look at some of these ratings too. When I look at members, this members page also gives me more information about myself. So I can look at my points and what my reputation score, and then 17 points, and I can get to the next level. So this is a great way to have people asking questions, answering questions, and getting points for not only answering questions, but giving the best reply. And a lot of you have probably seen this in other forums, kind of like the Microsoft forums online. Daniel says, how do you add users to the community site? Do the users just join on their own? All I did, Daniel, was I gave people access to the site. I gave them contribute access, and then they immediately could go in here and start creating conversations, creating discussions. What I did notice, which is probably a bug, is that when I had contributor access and I went in here and tried to like something, to like one of these conversations, I got a permission error. So I actually had to go in here, and I didn't really go play around to see all what levels of permission had what. I just went ahead and gave all these people full control since it's just a VM. But then they were able to like things. So y'all might come across that bug if you're playing with this on your VM, and hopefully that's just something just because this is a preview version. All right, so I'm looking at my members, and then I've just got a little, this is just some general rules that it automatically puts out here for you about the community. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you a little bit more about how to, I'll just kind of show you the interface of what it looks like to start a new discussion. It's just very simple, subject, body, and then it's whether you're asking a question or not and which category it goes in. And then I'm going to reply to one. So thanks for the schedule. I'm just being polite here, and then I can just go like his reply. He's complaining, but I'm going to go like his reply. So Kelly, you asked a good question. I'm going to address that in a minute. She said, is the community site at the site collection level or the site level? It is at the site level. We actually have a couple more things I'm going to show you with the community tools, and then I'll go and show you what the community portal looks like, and I think that's what you're asking. So you can manage discussions, which is just, just see really just a list view of the discussion to be able to see, and this one shows that this is a featured discussion, and it shows, really just a list of them. And then I can go create categories. So I showed you that sort of convoluted way to get around to create a category, but here's like an easy little button that they gave you since it's so hard to go find the list view and find the admin view there. I can go assign badges to members. Let me show you the reputation settings first. So this is really neat. So this is how you can determine what your point system is. I can allow them to be rated. You can give it likes or star ratings. And then I can allow the member achievements point system. So this is how we determine how many points you get when you do different things in here. When this was first created, I lowered some of these so I could have higher ratings just for demonstration purposes. But I went ahead and these are how many points you get for different things. You can just go in and modify these. You get 100 points if you get marked as a best reply. And then these achievement levels, at first they were like 100, 500, 1,000, 2,000, things like that. So I just lowered these. But that's how you can see these little 5 little squares next to each person's name. Those are their achievement levels. And I can even make it say different words instead of level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so where are you going to see these words? You're actually going to see these in your news feed. So in your My Site news feed, you're going to see, you know, what so-and-so just achieved such and such level. So then I can, let me go back. This is a half-an-hour webinar. I have to remember that. And I have to go, I can change, not reputation settings, but I can change my community settings, and that's where I can enable reporting of offensive content. And then the community portal. This is actually a site collection template. For the community portal, all I did was I created actually a whole other web app called community.contoso.com and created it with this this community portal template and did nothing else. So all I did was create it. It automatically finds other communities that I've created in the entire enterprise and other web apps and everywhere, and automatically rolls them up here. So all I did was create other sites, and this is a completely different, you can see this is a different web app. I created other sites, and it automatically goes and finds them and displays them here as popular communities. And shows, you know, how many members and discussions they have. So that's pretty neat that it automatically does that. No, Doug, I don't know how Yammer will come into play in this functionality. That's a great question, though. Callian says, can we upload the customized badges? Let me go back to here. I saw something about badges here a second ago. Let me see. Reputation settings, manage the list of gifted badges. So yes, so here's where you can go in and say, like, I rated a couple of people as experts and professionals in the members list, but this is how I can go, I can really just change the names of them. So it's not, for now it doesn't have an icon or anything associated with it, it's just a word. All right, and then I have to go ahead and move on to the My Site stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go hit my name and about me, and a lot of this is going to be familiar, so I'm going to breeze a little bit over the stuff that's going to be very familiar to you, but I can go edit my profile just like I could before. They've got it broken up a little, so this is nice. This is going to let me have just kind of pages of information instead of a big long scrolling page. So it lets me put all my fill out information, ask me about stuff, contact information here, my location, things like that. My details, I'm going to have some, you know, same stuff you've seen before, past projects, skills. I went to LSU, my birthday. And then newsfeed settings is going to let you put some personal interests in here and business-related interests. And then that's going to show in your newsfeed. And I can allow sharing of all these different activities. So that's a lot of that is pretty much the same stuff that you've seen in your profile. I'm going to go hit About Me again real quick. And notice that I can see, feel free to mention me in a post or ask me about blah, blah, blah. So people are having conversations. So you can see that this is not just a feed of some people's updates and things like that, but you can actually have a conversation here as if you were in Twitter. So someone else is looking at my page, they can say, just like in Twitter, at Laura Rogers, tell me, right now I'm just asking myself a question because I'm logged in as myself and I'm doing an at to myself. I didn't want to waste any time, so I'm not going around logging in as different users at this point. But this is how you can start a conversation so other people can like this conversation. I'm going to reply to myself. And then it goes back and forth, and this is going to be right here on the news feed. Notice that I have an Everyone button, so this is going to show me all the different conversations of the people that I'm following. And so Shane asked me a question about InfoPath, and Brittany made a comment about the marketing site, etc. And you can have all these threads going. Now it looks like I have one new mention, so that's going to be the one that I just mentioned myself in, but it marks it as a new mention. I also have activities, which is all the things centered around me, and all the things that I like. So I haven't liked anything yet, so there's nothing in this list. This is a good way to see a lot of different threads about yourself. Susan asked, if a user didn't have access to one of those communities, would they not appear on this portal, or would the users see them and just get a permission error? Susan, I'm 99% sure that just like with all the other types of sites in SharePoint, it's going to be automatically security trimmed, so they're not going to see a link to it if they don't have access to it. I'm going to assume that. I haven't actually tested it. And Mike says, can you set a policy of items you wish to share? I'm going to defer that because I'm trying to just stick to the social stuff, and that sounds like more of a permission type thing, but I don't think that you can set a policy like that. Also on my About Me page, I can see how many people I'm following and documents and sites that I'm following. So I can see that I'm following 8 people, and I can see who's following me. So it looks like it's about, the same list of people. And then I could quickly go in here and decide who else I want to follow. So that's an easy button right there in front of me for me to find. Got like 5 minutes here. So I can also have, we have this the news feed is going to take me to this news feed of what everyone's doing. So the one I was looking to on About Me was just my stuff, but this is my news feed. And then SkyDrive is sort of new, so it's really just, remember on your old My site where you had your personal documents and your shared documents? Well, this is one big document library that lets you have your personal documents at this top level, and then in the Shared with Everyone folder, that's where you can put things that you want everyone to see. And they call it SkyDrive because you can click this sync button at the top here, and it creates a synchronized copy of it on your computer. You can actually do that with all the libraries in SharePoint now. And then I can go open this, and this is like a synchronized copy, and it makes it look like a drive letter. See, it says SkyDrive Pro. So that way, when I'm saving things off my Office programs and things like that, I can go quickly just click on my SkyDrive Pro and save it there, and I can quickly access SkyDrive from wherever I am in SharePoint. I also have followed documents, which these are, remember I went to one of those documents just on the IT portal or something, and I just clicked the follow button next to it. This is where I can see all the documents anywhere in SharePoint in any site collection or web app that I'm following. I also have same concept here, so I have sites that I'm following, and this is where I went and clicked the little star just at the top right corner of the site and to click to follow it. And that was the very first thing I did in this demo. And then tasks, I cannot forget about tasks because tasks are very cool. So remember when I showed you the IT project site and it had some tasks assigned to people? This is where they roll up. So everybody's My Site actually has a rolled up list of all the tasks from all over SharePoint, anywhere that they have a task assigned to you. Isn't that about time, right? I mean, I am so excited about this. So we have these tasks that have been assigned to me on the IT project site, and then remember back when we were on that IT site and Jennifer asked about the color of the site, and that was in the news feed, and I clicked to follow up. Well, this is where it created the task. So my task to follow up with Jennifer is going to be listed here and just in my list of personal tasks. Is this SkyDrive linked with your live account? No, not that I can see, but it might be different in Office 365. I haven't tested that. All right, so besides the tasks, I'm going to go ahead and I was going to do this little day in the life of someone thing, but I don't have that much time. I have a couple of minutes to do it. So I'll go ahead and log in as Shane here and go to SharePoint. So Shane is actually going to go ahead and start his day on his news feed. So this is a great way to start your day because you can see everything all the activity that's going on with your coworkers and what documents people are working on and things like that today. So he's going to go look at his news feed, and he's also going to go look at his tasks, and those are really important. Now, I haven't tested this yet because I haven't created an Exchange 2013 environment yet in here. But I do hear that all of your Exchange tasks will also roll up onto this screen, and that's pretty awesome because that's one of those things that people ask about all the time. So he's looking at his news feed again, and he's noticing that I posted something about IT policies in our IT community page, and Shane's interested in that because this is very important with our the IT security policies. So he's going to talk about, yes, I did mine. He's going to just say something real quick about his security policy, and he's going to like it. So this is how he can quickly jump into a conversation from seeing it on the news feed. Another thing you can do, and I'm going to look at search just real quick, because I know this, I could probably do an entire other session on search, but it's really, really cool now in 2013. So I'm going to go ahead and let me just go to Portal Home here. I think I only searched the IT site when I did that. I'll search everything. He wants to know a little more about policies. Let me go to my search page here, just go a different way. Because he's interested in writing these IT policies. So he searches for policies, and he can see this Policies on Demand document. It shows you actually a little bit of a look inside. Now, I don't have Office Web Apps on here, so I'm not sure if it would have a little bit of a different interface with that installed. It seems like it would. But this is another place where I can quickly go follow this document and say, hey, I'm really interested in this document, and now I'm following it, and I don't even have to open it. Another neat thing is that I can quickly just go view the library without having to just directly only open the document or figure out the URL to the library, things like that. I can just click a button to view the library. I have all these little tabs up here. So people, who are the people that are interested in policy? So Nicola worked on the policies project, so I think I'm going to follow her because I'm interested in this project and I need to go write some security policies. So I can actually go read more about her, go send her an email or something like that. And then I can also see any conversations around policies. So I actually started a policy and I didn't manually kick off my my search, but any conversations that you have in any of your communities or news feeds, those policies are going to show here. And I don't have any videos or reports, but as you can see, it lets people quickly go find, not only drill down up here, but drill down like the little refinement panel here, but you also have different tabs where you can quickly go see different people. So looks like I've gone out of time, and we only have one more question. Josh says, I assume you can sync this aggregate view with Outlook. I guess you were talking about the tasks, so for that one the answer is yes. Do you guys have any other questions before I let you go? I should have made it longer than an hour, huh? Okay, well thanks for, let's see, I'll go ahead and put my little slide back up here. Thanks for attending. My name is Laura Rogers with Rackspace Hosting, and here's the link to my blog site, wonderlaura.com, and I write all about great out-of-the-box functionalities in SharePoint, and I really appreciate all of you coming. Thanks. Bye.